Hola amigos, ¿qué tal? Stuart here from Spain Speaks with a different type of video today. Something has caught my attention in the press in an online magazine called The Spectator, a fairly critical article of Spain it is. So we're going to take a look at that article today and see if some of the points made by the author of the article ring true or not. Let's have a look. So here's the article in question from The Spectator online publication, published yesterday, the 25th of September 2024, author Zoe Strimple, and the headline, Spain makes for an awful holiday. It's the worst country in Western Europe, the author says. And we can also see from the picture that they have chosen here, the bullfighter upside down after being gored by a bull. We're going to get a fairly good idea of what the article is going to be about, not only from the headline, of course, but also from this picture here. So let's read on. Let's scroll up and let's start with the first paragraph. Spain is busy with an image update thanks to a host of savvy media stories. We're now supposed to think of Spain not just in terms of packaged holidays, sangria and Catholicism, but also as chic, romantic, stylishly left-wing, the macho anti-fascism of Hemingway's Spain updated for the Me Too age, and devastatingly cutesy. Take the recent viral trend among Spain's youth, the supermarket pineapple gimmick that's gone global. A TikTok video has Gen Z storming the Mercadona chain between 7 and 8 p.m. under the notion that placing an upside-down pineapple in their shopping trolley signals romantic availability. Spanish singles found a new dating strategy. It's in the fruit aisle, crooned the Washington Post. How utterly adorable. And this, of course, referring to a recent trend that apparently sprung up here in Spain, where singles, as we can see, went to a supermarket and looked for people with a pineapple upside down in their shopping trolley and tried to crack onto them. Seemed stupid at the time, and my opinion on this has not changed. Let's scroll on. Well, I'm not buying it, the author says. Of my medium number of brushes with Spain, none have been great, and certainly not cutesy. Most were downright dreadful. In fact, I'd go so far as to argue that Spain is the worst country, admittedly not in the world, but certainly in Western Europe. So there we go, 3 paragraphs in, and bang, the worst country in Western Europe, according to the author. Now, personally, I haven't been to every country in Western Europe, so I can't refute this claim, but I had never thought that Spain was the worst country in Western Europe, and I wonder why the author has reached this conclusion. Let's read on. The cities are dire, some of the least appealing on the continent, not just Magaluf, Marbella or Alicante. The classy ones are also weird and sad. The much lauded Ronda depresses me, recalling the end of the world with its perilous chasm. My trips to Seville, Granada and Cordoba as a kid were marred by the stink of drains in every room we slept in, the baked, dull avenues of Madrid, the endless and fruitless quest for the best place for cured meat, the corporate flourishes. Barcelona, twice intended by me as a romantic break, is a bewildering tundra of tat and dye bars dotted with the ugliest architecture on earth, that of Gaudi. It's got a bang-average beach, bang-average buildings and overpriced food. Now it's an anti-tourism war zone and you'll get pickpocketed as bonus. So Barcelona, take that. And Madrid also cops a bit of a whack. And I'm going to be honest, and even some Spanish people recognize this, Spanish cities are not very attractive on the eye. Sure, there are some interesting and pretty historic parts of Spanish cities, but a lot of the new parts of Spanish cities leave a lot to be desired. So in that regard, I would agree with the author. Let's read on. Politically, Spain is nasty. It's got a loony left and right with far too much power. Can't deny that. I'd give special mention to its knee-jerk hatred of Israel. Right after the 7th of October, when there was an EU motion to halt aid to Palestine territories as it was demonstrably funneled to Hamas, Spain and Ireland refused. In December, a Spanish politician raised a stuffed dead baby in a shroud in Parliament to represent Israeli bloodlust in Gaza. It was ghoulish. Now, personally, I can't remember that particular event but I do know that Spain is one of the few supporters of Palestine in the European Union, recently recognizing the Palestinian state. But what I would agree with here is that politically Spain is indeed nasty, and it does have a loony left and right with far too much power. So yes, that is true. Let's continue. Meanwhile, the country's rambunctious anti-tourism and anti-Airbnb demonstrations have provided a titillating vision for the anti-profit crowd across the West. Down with tourists, down with gentrification, down with rents, and down with growth, wealth, and money, they chant. This is Spanish protest culture bravely fighting back, as the BBC puts it, against the influx of vulgar people who dare to spend their money in Spain's roasting cities. Your luxury, our misery, they declare. Isn't it the other way around? And again, that is something that has surprised me over the last few months. People complaining about the tourism industry in this country, people complaining about Airbnb and the like, taking their protests to the street on various occasions around the country. We've seen these protests in Barcelona, in Malaga, the Canary Islands, Valencia, the Balearic Islands, all over the country in those hot tourism areas, in those peak tourism areas. People have been complaining. And the author's right. What would this country look like without tourism? That's the question. And of course, we get to this situation of over-tourism in this country because certain people have allowed it to happen. Let's not forget that. On the article goes, then there is the economy, which is all but moribund with its seismic Europe-leading joblessness. Spanish history is also horrid if one begins with the Inquisition, the bloodiest, most sadistic, most pathological manifestation of Catholic dogma in Europe, and moves through to Franco and the long love affair with fascism. I can't really complain about those comments about the economy either. Let's read on. I can't think of anywhere in Europe, even Eastern Europe or the Balkans, where the food is so bad and yet so hyped. Am I really to travel 1,000 miles for poisonous mounds of oily carbs, those childish vats of paella, the greasy tapas that hide their unwholesomeness in the romance of the little beakers of wine, and the buzzing terraces, the ungodly mounds of cured pig, and my ongoing gastronomical nightmare, fried calamari in butter-soaked baguette? Now, I can just see many Spanish people reading this article and probably agreeing with a lot of the things that have been said, but when it comes to food and the criticism of Spanish food, I reckon they're up in arms by now. Because if there's one thing the people of this country are proud of, it's their food culture, and the author of this article has just gone bang. But again, the author has got a point, because there are thousands of places in this country that will sell you the food that is described there. Now, we're coming to the end of the article, and the best has been saved for last, as we can read here. And what of great Spanish literature? Is there one? I mean, other than Cervantes? If there is, and probably there is, it's never appealed to this devourer of man. Flaubert, Stendhal, Hugo, Gissing, and Dickens. Even Hemingway's Spanish novels, while good, are oddly two-dimensional and brutish. Bringing it all together is the bullfighting, slowly and cruelly torturing animals for sport in view of tens of thousands of baying onlookers. This is not a tradition fit for the modern era, let alone Western Europe. So no, you can take your tapas and your pineapple dating and your progressive rage. I won't be troubling Spain with my tourism anytime soon. Wow. Now, I could be wrong, but I don't think I've seen a more critical piece on Spain in a long, long time. And as you would expect, some Spaniards have already picked up on this article and have posted their opinions on X. For example, this reaction to the article in Spanish, but I'll translate it for you guys. Zoe Strimple has written an article in The Spectator saying that Spain is the worst country in the world, with the worst food, with horrendous traditions and history, and that all of the country's cities are ugly. And then he's put a picture of Zoe next to a picture of a Spanish city, asking the question, who is more beautiful? So a fairly low blow from that ex-contributor. Let's look for another one. What about this one here from Victor Sanchez del Real, former member of parliament here in Spain with the Vox party? He's retweeted that post and added, reiterative ingestion of fish and chips can lead to hallucinations. Ha ha ha. So I reckon this article article is going to get a lot more traction, a lot more criticism on social media sites like X in coming days, weeks, and months. We'll keep an eye out for those. Time to wrap the video up. Questions and comments, please leave them in the section below. If you have anything to add to the conversation today, please, the comment section is the place for you. Did you agree with some of the things written in that article, or do you disagree with some of the things written in that article? Let me know in the comment section below. Give the video a thumbs up if you liked it, thumbs down if you didn't. I'll see you in the next one. Hasta luego from Madrid, Spain.